wanted to continue to share about my Kundalini experience and my spontaneous awakening, as I believe this information is needed at this time, and many more will be navigating certain experiences and perhaps even in the unknown of what is actually going on with them. My hope is for people to continue on this path in the most natural way possible. If you have watched my first video, and I'll link it below, just kind of going through some of the experiences that I had. This message specifically is more around the hope of coming out of this, and although I'm still in it, and so deeply in it, like really deeply in it, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Probably wouldn't have thought that 5 years ago, but even then there was gratitude for the awarenesses that came online, for the insights, for all the senses that tuned in, and even beyond the senses that we've been taught. There was so much that continues to open and awaken within me. I've been through a lot of feelings of loneliness on this path, and I looked at my human design and my gene keys. If you haven't looked into that, it's a great way of deeper contemplation of this journey and of our own blueprint. I also study astrology. We can call it a mystic, but it's also someone who's a seeker of truth, and I believe that the stars are a beautiful blueprint, a soul's remembrance to why we came here. If we can get through the turmoil and the feelings of uncertainty and unknown, the pain and everything that comes along with Kundalini, and on top of that going through shamanic initiation, I tell you, I was like, fuck, I really signed up for this one. Everything just seems to be intensified on this path. But here I am, like almost 5 years later from my spontaneous awakening, and I wanted to share a little bit more in depth. This is not scripted, so I'm not even sure where this is going. I don't believe in scripting so much and you know, maybe having guidelines, but I just want to let this conversation flow, because I know that my first video really touched a lot of people, and that was so meaningful to me, that others are also on this path and have also felt really scared and dismantled. I can't even tell you how many times I just felt dismantled by this experience. And the clearings continue. It doesn't stop. You don't just turn off your Shakti, and you don't just turn off this process. There's a reason why you've been chosen for this. So really tapping into that and understanding that. This is why I love astrology. This is why I incorporate astrology into all of the work that I offer, because it's a deeper way of understanding yourself and a deeper way of loving yourself on a really special level. There's so much that can be revealed through our birth chart. I felt really dismantled by the energies in my lineage, in my home. It's something that I'm still dealing with in my own home, having my own children and going through my own initiations as a mother. During this process, I left my marriage. I felt so unseen and misunderstood. And I wish that more people knew about this, and more people who are going through Kundalini awakening, spontaneous awakening especially, that it's intense and we can't control it. I couldn't control those days where I was bedridden. I really couldn't, because there was nothing else that I could possibly do in those moments. I felt very misunderstood. I felt very judged. There was such a lack of education out there. It struck a chord within me. And when I learned deeper of the teachings of Kundalini and Shakti, and working with the energy of Shakti and embodying Shakti and protecting my field and not keeping myself so open, protecting my crown, and not needing to save the world, not needing to also project that the world is screwed, because there is a process to this madness and to this chaos. And you know, even when we look at the chaos, this gaping void, it's this spaciousness. And I believe that this process creates that spaciousness, which can also, honestly, it can also feel very lonely, you know. And I've questioned that. I'm like, am I lonely, or is this actually the space that my soul was desiring in order to be able to take those next steps of my soul's evolution? And there's a lot of ego deaths in this too. And I'm someone who works with psychedelics. The sacred mushroom is an initiate. I'm an initiate of the sacred mushroom. In the path of the sacred mushroom, I've sat with ayahuasca, as you probably know from my first video about this. It does intensify it as well. There is deeper intensities, deeper initiations, deeper insights that come in. Not something I would recommend for everyone. I would say it's not for everyone, truly. But I can say that this path has taught me a lot. It's taught me resilience. And what is transilience? When we're going through deep transformation, we need resilience. And so that word is like written on my walls, you know, something I'd like to bring back as well as my mentors. It's just like, There is this deep understanding that we're continuously changing and growing and evolving. And just much like if you look outside into nature, it's continuously evolving. It's this death and rebirth cycle. And if we learn how to embody this and to be in the liminal and learn how to dance in the liminal, this will help us through those transitions of our own ego deaths, our own clearings in our purification process. In one of the stages of Kundalini, we go through a deep purification. I believe the physical body is one of the first parts of that. That's why I always say, stay pure. That was the message from God, to stay pure and to keep my children pure. That was a really sharp, intuitive insight that I got before my spontaneous awakening. I had already been going through my awakening, so this was just an added energy. There's medicine in that because, you know, my daughter said to me today, I said, oh, you know, my eyebrows just kept falling out. And she's like, oh, that's normal. And I said, no, honey, that's not normal. God put us here perfect and whole. And some way down the path, or when we enter this world, there's things that happen to us, right? Or that's put into us that is beyond our control or our consent. And that needs purification. And so I've gone through the depths of this and I've received insights on this. I couldn't always explain, even when I was 11 and I had my near-death experience, I couldn't explain the insights that God was sharing with me. I didn't even know it was God. I just thought everyone could hear this guidance and this voice, but they couldn't. That, of course, made me feel like a lone wolf early on in this world. That caused the numbing and suppression that came out with substance abuse and cigarettes and all this stuff, you know, because I would see people in my community and my family, and you know, that, and they would come to life with alcohol and be in their abundance with alcohol, and this was their embodiment. And so of course, you know, here I am like, I need this, and through this, you know, through my awakening came the purification. I don't drink alcohol anymore, except on occasion if it's my grandfather, the day of his death, I'll have a little bit of moonshine in his honor, as it was a medicine in his life. And I believe that alcohol is a medicine because it is a powerful spirit that we're working with. So in his honor, I will have that. And on his homelands, I will have some in honor of his soul, his spirit that lives on. But I just wanted to say for anybody that's navigating this experience, this Kundalini awakening, a spontaneous awakening, that there is hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And you're not alone on this path or this journey. Working to honor this calling is a journey. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of transilience for you to step into this, to hold this as it is. Reaching out for support, surrounding yourself with people that can support you, a group, working with practitioners that are aligned in this, who are aware of what Kundalini, what the process is, you know. I had never gone to Kundalini classes to awaken my Kundalini. I had one that one of my beautiful sisters was hosting at a retreat that I was at, that I partaked, and that was after my Kundalini awakening, that I found very overstimulating. So what we can do to ground our energy, what we can do to honor this call, and to honor even those moments of darkness and moments of psychosis, that like clearing and purging energy. Sometimes I would look at myself and be like, wow, who was that? And as a mother, that was so hard when that dragon comes out and you have no idea how to work with a dragon because you haven't fully embodied or remembered that dragon and the power of that dragon, because that dragon can burn shit up and it can tear up everything in your life. And so that happened, you know, and I see it now as the greatest teaching of my life. I don't want to live in regret or shame about it. It was a part of my journey, motherhood and Kundalini. I'd probably do a separate video on this because this was one of the greatest initiations and continues to be one of the greatest initiations in my life. And so may this video and may, you know, my voice to you just say, you got this, ground yourself, breathe, commune with the trees and the bees, have your feet in the earth as much as possible, disconnect from the tech, because that's what's making us all a mess, you know? It's disconnecting us from source, it's causing palpitations in the body and numbness. I can also do more videos on that. Just let me know what you want to hear, and I'm here to support you. I'll drop some links below if you need support and you're on this journey of spiritual awakening and Kundalini awakening. I'm devoted to this path. I was chosen for this path. So don't give up. You can do this. You can do this naturally. You can support your body naturally. You can go through purification naturally. There's so much that you can do even with a small budget that I'm happy to share more of. Just drop what's resonating for you, what you would love to hear more of. so that I am accommodating you and what you need at this time. And I believe this is an offering that I can give from my heart to you and to all that are seeking this path and have been chosen for this path. So please honor this as a sacred gift and not a curse. I know sometimes it can feel like a curse, even when the body is going through such transformation and transitions, and sometimes you can go through crazy stuff in the body. Wow, should I go to the hospital? This is crazy. And really it's about discernment. You're being taught to really attune to your body, to listen. Because if you've spent years not listening and putting toxins in your body, it's going to take time to purify your vessel. It will take time. This is not like, boom, I'm healed and my Kundalini is over. It doesn't work like that. Just know that it's a process, and just know that it's a chosen process, that you've been chosen for this, and that's not for everyone, and that should feel like a great honor. Gratitude journaling will help you along this path. Try and focus on what is working. It's very hard. I know it can be challenging at times. However, it's so easy for the mind to focus on all the negative, right? And what's not working, and how your body's not supporting you, and how all these things that are happening are actually not working in your favor, or so we think. And so I encourage you on this path to find the light, to surround yourself with the light, to always anchor back into the light. Listen to those spiritual teachers if you can. I'll keep the spirituality to a very minimum in my videos because I knew that I couldn't handle a lot of spirituality. You know, I couldn't do a lot of stuff. I couldn't do a lot of yoga. I couldn't do a lot of people. And that changes as you change and grow and as you evolve and embrace these gifts that are being shared with you, because they will magnify. And that's holy, sisters and brothers. That's holy. This is a very holy experience. And not to walk with ego. I have painted on my wall here, it says on my painting, it says stay humble. It's very easy to get sucked into the ego, right? And to have spiritual ego. And so stay humble. And when you catch yourself where you're not, it's not about shaming or guilting, it's about repatterning. Okay, cool. How would I show up different? How would I repattern my mind where it's not spiritual ego, just coming from a sense of groundedness and knowing that we're not here to fix people. It's because one day we will be able to be of service, to do that with that humble heart, to walk with humility, to dance through this, because it's all in transition. And so even if you have been chosen to be a healer of some sort on this path, be very humble that not everyone will make it through this process. Many will resort to pharmaceuticals. Many will numb themselves out. Many will try and stop this process from happening. The deep shadow work and the deep shamanic shadow work that we can anchor in this is going to be the most profound tools that we use in this lifetime. And so I'll leave you with that. Just this love and this reverence for this path, because you can do it. And I honor you.